You've likely heard of 4X games, but I feel like another 5th X is just as integral to 4X games, and it's not discussed very often. Back in 1993, a game writer for Computer Gaming World coined the term 4X to describe the game Master of Orion, which features 4 main mechanics. They're exploration, expansion, exploitation, and extermination. The 4X subgenre of strategy board games has exploded with games like Twilight Imperium, Space Empires 4X, Eclipse, Civilization: A New Dawn, and now Europa Universalis: The Price of Power. But that one X that all these games rely on that is often forgotten is one that I think we need to talk about today because it's arguably the most important of all. So let's have a look at all 5 X's here on Legendary Tactics. When my copy of Europa Universalis: The Price of Power arrived, it got me to thinking about the 4 X's that we all talk about. But it also made me wonder why the 5th X isn't integral to being part of this subgenre of games. If you have thoughts on this argument, please add them in the comments below. I'd love to hear why you think it's been omitted. And for those of you who need a refresher on the 4 X's, let's start with those and use Europa as our example. So the first X is exploration. This usually involves sending scouts across the board to reveal new territories or to explore spaces on the map. In Europa Universalis, the game includes a distant continents board to explore non-European parts of the world. And the exploration actions in this game are generic actions such as exploration and research. With your navy, including your fleets, you can discover realms and adjacent territories. I'd also argue that the research in this game is a form of exploration as you claim bonuses from the idea cards. The second X, expansion, is claiming those territories that you've discovered with new settlements or by extending the influence of already existing spheres of influence. In Europa Universalis, the expansion is built around the strategic use of cards and the management of your resources. Minor actions such as appointing advisors or leaders, calling to arms, replenishing manpower, and cutting ties all fall under the expansion X. It's all part of developing and growing your empire. And one interesting resource that's at your disposal in this game is marriage. You can use it to strengthen political ties to particular realms and to extend your influence. The third X, exploitation, focuses on gathering and using those resources in the areas that you control, and then improving the efficiency with which you use them. I haven't had a full playthrough of this game yet, so some of this is conjecture. But from the slightly heavy rulebook that I've gotten through so far, I believe the exploitation actions available to you in Europa Universalis are the administrative actions, like increasing stability, 2, converting an area, and 3, colonizing. Having more stability affects your income, it impacts the unrest in the region, and it adjusts the monarch power income. Likewise, converting the religion in an area gives you access to papal mechanics or abilities. So in essence, these actions allow a player to dig in or to exploit and get more powers in the areas that they have influence over. If you have experience with this game, please let me know if I've got these actions right down in the comments. Now the 4th X is a little more straightforward. That's extermination. It's the one that really gets the blood pumping. This is all about attacking and eliminating rival players or confiscating opponents' territories or eliminating their presence. And it's clear that Europa Universalis is absolutely a war game. It's heavily governed by players taking control of parts of the map. The military actions in the game are number 1, declaring war, 2, activating units, 3, recruiting, and 4, suppressing the unrest. The game features naval and land battles, and the rules governing this portion of the game are extensive, even tracking features like wounded generals. Now, we're at the 5th X, which I believe is vital to all 4X games, and that's diplomacy. But because 4X plus D doesn't sound great, I'd like to call this one externalization instead. In fact, this X is another option that players can use in place of extermination to forge alliances, to peacefully coexist, and to establish mutually beneficial arrangements. This would include the elements of trade in a game, and even when diplomacy isn't explicitly part of the rule set, in any game with 3 or more players, how you treat your opponents will largely determine the outcome of the game more than any of the other X's. How you present yourself to the other players, or how you externalize your gameplay, will inevitably impact all of the other X's. Where players explore and expand to, and what resources they decide to exploit, and who they decide to exterminate, those are all based on how you present yourself. In Europa Universalis, it's essential that you build diplomatic relations to support your expansion. You'll be using the trade deck to trade with other players by sending merchants across the board. The diplomatic actions in the game are 1. Influencing NPRs, those are non-player realms, 2. Forging alliances, 3. Fabricating claims, and 4. Straight up trade. In Europa Universalis, the most common victory condition is having the most prestige. While much of that is achieved tactically on the board and through card play, a great deal is also achieved through your person-to-person interactions with all the other players. For this reason, I believe that the 5th X, externalization, is indeed the most important. If you got value from this video and you haven't joined our channel yet or subscribed, please take a moment to become part of our legendary community. Now get out there, get gaming, and be legendary.